Welcome back to The Creative Lens. Today, Jake and Colden are breaking down the Kinefinity Vista launch and what it says about the future of compact cinema cameras. They also dig into obsession and backrooms continuing to dominate at the box office, why YouTube native filmmakers are becoming impossible for Hollywood to ignore. Plus, the guys share some unique ways they're using AI in their creative workflow without letting it replace the actual creative workflow. Let's get into it.
What's up? Welcome to The Creative Lens. Jake, how's it going, man?
Good, brother. How you doing?
Dude, I'm living. I'm excited for this week. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got Cine Gear coming up. We got a new camera that just launched today. We've got box office hits. We got a lot going on, man. Anything else going on in your life?
I went to the gym for the first time in like a month. Granted, like I've been like hiking and very LA, but like, and then so the gym actually dropped out, but I went back to the gym today. So you know, you'd be proud of me for that.
I'm incredibly proud of you. I was golfing before this, so it's like kind of the same, but not the same. So
I would rather be doing that.
It's the funniest thing, man. We have historic cold front for June for Florida. So we have like almost no humidity. It was like 78 golfing in June, which you've been out to Clearwater.
Oh my God. That
doesn't happen.
That's the best. Like that.
It's LA weather in Florida.
Obviously you're going golfing.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be doing that?
Exactly. So I thought this is historic levels of low humidity. We're going to get it for like 2 days and it's going to go back to the swamp. So I thought, you know what? We're going to be outside for a little while. So
go play
awesome.
18.
Yep, absolutely. So did that, came here, ready to talk about some stuff. And we're going to bring this in a way back to kind of GoPro on this. The Kinefinity just launched because we have to, right? But Kinefinity just launched. I've got so many thoughts on this. I don't know if you've been following this Kinefinity thing, but I will. I've got it pulled up here. Kinefinity just launched this Vista. They talked about it at NAB. You said you never saw it at NAB, right?
No, I never went by the booth.
So you have to go.
You didn't tell me to go by the booth. I blame it on you. It's all your fault.
I fully take responsibility for you being unable to go see a booth at NAB while I was stuck in Florida. So it's fully my fault, but I'm warning you now. You're going to be at Cine Gear this weekend, and you should go see this camera because it rips. There's so many cool things about this camera that I'm stoked for. I've got a few things that, for me, it feels like it's not quite enough for me. But here's what's interesting. So the first thing, when I looked this up on pre-order today, I guess, today is the day that everybody that got the camera for these like pre-beta like reviews, beta testing the camera, seeing where the firmware breaks, seeing what's good, what's not. Today's the day that everybody got to launch all of their footage from it and talk about it. So lots of different reviews out online. I tried to go watch as many as I could, so you guys don't have to. But it's kind of everything that they promised us it would be at NAB. I know that they were shooting for a sub $3,000. When we talked about this and we were like breaking this from NAB, it was sub $3,000. If you pre-order this right now, Jake, it's $1,999 on B&H.
That's wild.
Like for a 6K open gate, it's got one of the best monitors in the game. Like this is a great camera for $2,000, and it's a really tiny little box.
It really competes with that Canon R5V.
I'd say yes.
I said it wrong.
We got that right this time.
You said it right.
R6. No, it's the R6V. That's the one that they just dropped. Yeah, we got close. It's the R50 that or the 50C that was like the old version of the new camera that dropped.
Yes,
but it's
the R6V. God,
R6V. I know. We'll get there eventually. By the third or fourth episode, we will, where we just talk about this, because we're on.
This is why you're the gear guy and I'm the director.
Fair. It's fair. And I'm not even the Canon guy. I'm interested though, and I would like your thoughts. I don't know if I would put this as competitive with that new Canon camera. I don't see that as, and maybe I'm like,
what does this compete with? What is this compete with? Red? Does it compete with Sony, Canon? You know.
So here's my thought. When we talked about GoPro originally, and I said that the ILS model, that interchangeable lens model on a 1-inch sensor from GoPro for almost $1,000, it's like $899 or $799. That's the least useful camera. It's a camera we never needed. I think it competes with that, because what everybody got mad at me in the comments for, if there were some people that were like, oh yeah, that makes sense, thanks for like kind of being the voice of reason. There were other GoPro fanboys that were hating on me for hating on or asking questions about that ILS model. They said, oh, it's going to be the best crash cam in Hollywood. This feels like a way more robust crash cam for a Hollywood movie. It's not as small as the GoPro model, but you have like mounting points. You have actual lens connections. This Kinefinity mount that they have is one of the coolest mounts I've seen on a camera. So here's why. It can adapt to anything. The amount of adapters that you can put on this is the only mirrorless camera I've seen that's like a compact cinema camera that you can put lenses on. I can't put any lenses. The Nikon has enough of a flange depth that I can adapt to my Nikon, but you can put Nikon lenses on it. You can put lenses on it. You can put RF lenses on it. They have an EF adapter. If you have old Canon lenses, they have an active PL. And what you'll see here, which is like, this was my complaint with the ILS from GoPro. If you're really going to use this as a crash cam, you don't have any active like pins on the GoPro. So the main seller point or whatever is that it's not going to have autofocus. Here, if this is a crash cam or whatever, like you don't need autofocus if it's not meant for vloggers, but the R6V has great autofocus. So if I'm going to go out and vlog with a camera, the R6V makes sense. This is like, to me, this is like we talked about it last show, like a micro cinema camera, like that little pocket budget cinema camera line. If I want to hook this up to a car, if I've got a scene where I can't fit a normal Alexa, here's a 6K open gate, 15 stops of dynamic range. It records to SSDs and CF Express Type B, so you have like real media. It records in H.265 and it records in like every flavor of ProRes. This feels like a professional crash cam, and it's got mounts like crazy. Like, look at the mounts. And going back to these pins, it has an active mount, which means any of these lenses that you're adapting that need communication for iris, for your aperture settings, you have that. No, this is not going to have autofocus. This is not a vlogger camera. You're going to have to manually focus these lenses. Or, like we talked about 2 shows ago, get something like a Tilta or a PD Movie or a DJI LiDAR system that's going to autofocus for you. So you won't have autofocus built into this. But like, to me, if the argument I heard last time was the ILS is for crash cams, then this is like, if that's $1,000 and this is $2,000 for a Hollywood movie, for like a larger set, is that really a different, like, is that different? That means the gap, right? This is like, to me, it's like the Price is Right with GoPro / cameras. How niche is your product where for $899, here's your product, but if you spend just a little bit more, you get ProRes, you get an active mount, you get PL adapters, you get IO that works, you get a full-size HDMI, you get 32-bit float recording, you get a built-in SSD.
Plus.
Like, that's where I'm like, oh, dude, you went Price is Right, and I went $599 and you went $598. Like, your window of being a customer here is pretty small on that GoPro side when you have a month or 2 later, like GoPro, the ILS isn't out yet. And you've got this thing, which, like, if you like, the screen on this thing is so nice. It's a full 3x2 open gate screen. Like, it's just a sick, and it's 800 nits. So my ZR is 1,000 nits, which is noticeable. Coming from my like older, even my like A7S III and my FX3, like coming from those LCD screens to the 1,000 nit ZR screen is huge. So this is going to be somewhat compatible with that. You know, your 800 nits versus 1,000, but like, it's a really cool looking camera.
It reminds me. I was just gonna say, it reminds me of the red Komodo.
Yes. And Giovanni was asking about the sensor confirmation. I don't know what the sensor confirmation. That was actually, so Giovanni, that was kind of like my one sell off point, was like, I think this is the older sensor that they had in their I think Mavo, which that's the older sensor that they've had that sensor in their cameras for a while. I think the selling point here is that it's such a small, compact micro camera. The other thing that I have not seen any creator talk about, and I thought that we were getting it in this camera because Kinefinity has done their like version of Kine RAW. No RAW support yet. Nothing talked about, nothing teased, nothing from any of these creators that were reviewing it that said, hey, we're gonna get RAW. Basically what these guys got, and here's another GoPro part, like what these guys got was beta. A lot of these guys would say, we're not even on beta 1. We're on beta 0.07. So they have gotten the most beta firmware from what they were even testing. They were testing H.265 files. They didn't have ProRes in the camera yet. ProRes is supposed to launch before these cameras ship out. So from what I've heard right now, you get H.265 in a really strong high bitrate flavor, and you get ProRes in all the different ProRes flavors. So you've got LT and HQ. I don't think you've got 444 because that'll eat into your battery. That was the other thing that they were like testing on this, which is so cool to see before the pre-order starts or before you put your money down to see how the battery actually works, that they were getting like 3.5 hours recording to the SSD, and you're doing like 3 hours worth of recording on that SSD in H.265 before the battery dies. It's got I think I was reading a 7-watt power draw. That's like nothing. You want to talk about it, reminds you of a red Komodo. The Komodos eat through V mounts. This is like nothing.
So where do you see this? So obviously from a pro level, we see this for like as a crash cam, a replacement of a Komodo. Like, okay, great. Komodo's like 5K or something like that. This is 2K.
Yeah.
You can do any of the lenses. Sure, it's not red raw, but like, you get high-end ProRes and whatnot. How do you see this working in the creator space, in the indie filmmaker, in the like, what does this compete with at kind of like the indie prosumer level? Because obviously that's where it's priced at.
I'll be interested to see if it finds a home in that level, because I think so you kind of asked, to me, you asked two different questions: the creator space, the indie film space. And this, very different spaces, right?
Sure.
In the creator space, my personal feeling is that not having a solid enough autofocus is going to be difficult for this to land, because a lot of times that your indie one-off creator is going to set the camera up and want it to track them as they are both framing the scene and acting in the scene, right? Like,
do you see this being big in the podcasting space? Because you have 6K open gate. Do you think it'll be that, or like maybe a webcam? Obviously you and I have very high end. We're using our Canons and our Sonys as our webcam. Yeah.
Well, but even for that, like for mine, I like having eye tracking on all the time. So if I step back or forward, so I've done podcasts with manual focus cameras, and you're either stopping down that aperture to a 5.6, overlighting your scene so everything's kind of in focus if that's your look. If you want fall off in the back, then you're telling your talent, hey, don't move that much. And so it's interesting. I'd be interested to see if this finds a space in that world. I don't think that's a good fit. But on the indie creator side, the filmmaker side, the indie filmmaker side, I mean, let's talk about Iron Lung, right? That was filmed in a tiny little box. That was shot on an Alexa. No, those were two Reds. That was the Monstro. Yeah. But if you can't get a Monstro into a tight space, this is literally 4 inches by 3 inches by 2 inches deep. Like, so imagine it's like, it is this big. It's about the same kind of size as your iPhone.
So F1 basically, instead of using those custom Sonys, it's something like that, where you get the high-end action sport. And again, like we were talking about the GoPro, like if you want that, but at a, top pro level, this would be the camera for you.
Well, and to me, I wouldn't even say a top pro level, because the Venice has ways of detaching the entire lens mount from and the sensor from the actual camera, right? Like, so if you want top pro level, you can shoot the Burano or the Venice on a completely detached system. And I don't know if you saw this.
Well, I should say, for $2,000.
But for $2,000, but that's where I'm saying, like, if you want a creative shot for a crash cam, that's where it's like, as a GoPro alternative, like, you've now narrowed this gap.
It's the high-end GoPro.
Everything that GoPro sold, like, go back to that video of like them mounting it to the cars and how amazing that looked, and like the use case that they found for their ILS. For $1,000 more, you get a more professional level of that same thing. When we originally talked about GoPro, everybody was like, well, this is revolutionary. This is groundbreaking. Nobody's ever done this. And I would send them links to the Blackmagic micro cinema camera. It's a 4K sensor. It's micro 4/3. But like, that camera ripped for weird shots. For like, I remember they had used it. I want to say it was like one of the Spider-Mans maybe. And they literally like mounted it on top of the basketball goal, like on the backboard, where you would have to take some really serious rigging to get a camera up there and like mounted, and you'd have to have a crane behind you and an op. This thing was SDI and Ethernet controlled the whole thing, and it was just like a tiny little camera. So here's one more thought on this. Last week we covered how
I was just thinking, like, you could also put just some rails on it and, tilt a nano nucleus.
Yeah.
And then you go, great. Yeah. You have an AC on it, but like, okay, you have an AC. Fine.
Yeah. Well, like, even then, if you get that
much extra space, like doesn't take up that much extra room to put one of those nanos, to pull focus.
Yeah. So the only other weird thing on this camera that makes me go, is my thesis totally wrong on this, is you have this beautiful screen on it. So then they're obviously looking at creators or, people that are not going to rig this out or like just drop it off as a crash cam.
That's why I brought that up. It's like how, and so it's just interesting that they couldn't make the autofocus work. Or it's like, hey, okay, never get this, but then get the autofocus, from Tilta, wink, wink,
right,
nudge, nudge type of thing. But again, if I'm not mistaken, that only works with those few Sony E mounts. Like, it might not even work with this. So you're putting a LiDAR system on it or something like that. You're putting like a DJI LiDAR mixed mount. I don't even know how that would work. Let me just pull that up.
Well, I'm thinking of the PD movie. I think DJI works the same way. It doesn't matter what mount you have, because that's a totally autonomous system. Yeah,
I just pulled it up just because I haven't looked at this in a long time, but the DJI Focus Pro.
Yeah. But you look at the PD movie LiDAR system. I don't think it's quite as good. I can pull it up right over here. But so it's the PD movie for LiDAR. If you check this thing out, dude, you get the whole combo here for $499. But just the motor is, let's see, this one's base kit for $359. I think I've seen it cheaper than that. But like, you think about this, it's just got a regular, what is that?
Just a rail?
Millimeter rail. Yeah, it's just your regular bottom rails. And that's it. It's all you need. It's got a built-in battery to it, so you don't need to like run power to it.
How does this then check the auto? Like, because I know
it's a LiDAR system.
I know DJI has that little, but it has the like cold shoe mount.
So if you can see this though, it's got the camera
into that.
This has been so until Tilta released their
Adapter.
it's the
It's not
native it's native E autofocus, Sony autofocus 2PL. Before they announced that, when we talked about like, I think I'm going to get into some PL lenses and get some really good anamorphics and like some nice PL lenses. This was my other option in terms of like, can I do it as a run and gun? You know, if you can deal with calibrating, because that's the problem when you have a system this small and it's a Chinese system. So you're dealing with like not the best instruction. Like if you're US, good luck trying to program this thing. That's the biggest complaint I've seen from a lot of people, that this thing's hard to program. But like all in, if you can deal with that and you could like, don't show up to set and be like, oh, I should probably figure out how to calibrate this thing. Like if you're a working professional, calibrate your lenses before. This thing has like, I want to say it's 5 or 6 memory locations in it. It comes with different like stickers you put on your lens. So you calibrate it to different colors. And you say, and then you set it to the blue channel. Like you can see this kind of colored LED right here. So you'd set it to the blue channel. You'd get your blue lens with might be your, you know, PL50
your 50 or something like that.
Exactly. I like that we both went to 50 immediately. So yeah, this is why this works, Jake. But you'd get your 50. You'd set that up. You'd hit run. So it would basically calibrate all the way to the minimum focus, all the way to the maximum focus. And then you're gone. You're good. You run, you know?
Wow.
So like you think that in terms of like a really minimalistic all-in rig. And honestly, as we're talking through this here, kind of smart that Kinefinity's doing. They're saying, you know what, there's so many good.
You could do this for a podcast. You could rig out, you know, because on your master, like if you had for most podcasts, which are sit down studio, etc., you know, in an office, or, you know, it's a
dude, what a killer. But like $2,000, like you are, what I love about this
what both of us just jumping in. I was just gonna, let me just jump in quickly. It's just like the thing I love about it is the lens options.
Yes,
that's the thing. Like as a DP, or, you know, when I have to be the DP, like the body's like, if you, okay, great. It's so Red RAW versus RE RAW versus B RAW versus Canon log. Like, okay, it's all relative. Like you're gonna color it anyways. Oh, it's a little green, a little blue. Go screw yourself. Like you're gonna somebody's gonna sit in the DI and fucking go through it and okay, let me bring the blues down. Let me bring the greens up. Like you're gonna work it anyways. But to get certain bokeh, to get certain blur, getting roll up, like all of that texture comes out in the lens. Like, and that's where you go, why does this look so because of the lens?
Yes.
It doesn't really matter. Oh, it's a Sony Venice, or it's an Alexa. It's like all these cameras are great. But for $2,000, you get a $500 autofocus, or if you want to go slightly above, I mean, it's still Chinese, but you know, maybe a little better quality, and you go with the DJI. It's $1,000.
Yep.
But then you can throw on a freaking Angenu 20 to 120, and you get just gorgeous looking Angenu lens, a Cook lens, just any, you know, a Zeiss Master Prime. Like, let me throw this on. Let me throw this anamorphic on. Let me throw it. Like, doesn't matter.
Can literally use anything.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. This is, let me throw
That's
another
pretty
thing
wild.
that Kinefinity solved a problem with that body style. So how cool is this? They have ENDs that is built into their adapter. So you can buy the Kinefinity, it mounts to the Kine mount. And now you've got whatever you want to go to. This one is an END to EF. And it's an END. So you control the whole thing through software, and it has IR cut in it. So a lot of the cheaper kind of screw on, like a lot of ND filters will have IR pollution, right? These all have like anti-IR, like built into the lens, into this adapter. So instead of trying to make your camera bigger with built-in NDs like the FX6, which I've said is like one of my favorite cameras of all time, or the Ursa Studio I love those cameras for built-in NDs. They're great. Talk about like not podcasts, but documentary work where you don't know what the lighting's going to be where you're walking in. If you don't want that, here's a mount. You already needed an adapter anyway to get from Kine to EF, and they've got it built in with it, and it's electronic, so you can dial it into exactly what you want. It's cool. So they've got so many mounts. So going to like what you said, if you are working, you told the story last week about your friend who decided to kind of buy into his, instead of getting a camera, he bought a really nice set of lenses. If you're in a set of lenses, even if you are, you know, I've spent a lot of money on G Master lenses on the E system because I'm that hybrid shooter that's doing photos half the time, doing video work. So I don't have my own set of like Cine lenses, but I'm really invested in the E mount system. Where do I go other than E cameras? Something like this that says, hey, you can bring your E cameras over here. You can bring your E mounts over here. That's cool because you can't do that with Micro Four Thirds. It's really hard to find a system that would adapt to those other. Where can you, if you've bought a bunch of RF lenses for Canon, where do you go other than the next Canon camera? You can't go take it to a Sony body.
Nope.
You can't even take the RF over to a Nikon body. So this is like the one that I have seen that has managed to get their flange distance so small and that mount so small that literally, what do you want to mount it to? You can do it. Cool camera. The only downside to me is that in all of that great stuff, you don't have a RAW format that you can work with. Is it that big of a deal at the end of the day? Like you said, you're giving it to a colorist.
But that's where I go. I think it's a little bit more of that independent filmmaker that like, because I now see this as a great docu camera. Like if you're doing any doc work, like because of these couple accessories, you get a LiDAR type system, you get the, you know, electronic ND system. Great. You're now at $3,000 or whatever.
Sub three.
Like, yeah. I mean, well, it's good. Like let's say 3,500, right? You're at like 3,500, but like 3,500, your 6K open gate, very like internal NDs, you're pretty set up. So how does this compare? We've talked about this again, but just to like go back to it, it's like, how does this compare to the Red? Like,
so this is not a fair comparison, but it's a great question because a bunch of different people have already been reviewing this. And I will say, because I just got this Nikon, the ZR, which has the red code RAW in it, right? One of Brandon Talbot. Brandon Talbot is on YouTube, great YouTuber. He's been like the Nikon ZR guy. Like he's done a lot of videos on. I like. Thank you to Brandon Talbot because I'm like learning this new camera that I bought through him, right? But he compared the two, and you got to go like watch his video if you want the full comparison. But here's a shout out to what I've been experiencing, kind of doing some just, you know, walking around test shooting with this Nikon ZR. If you look at, here's the Kinefinity, just a close-up shot of this is part of Brandon's review, and it's great. Now, this is why I say it's not a fair comparison yet, because all of these YouTubers got the beta version. And they were all very clear. Look, we're shooting in H.265. We haven't even gotten ProRes yet. But look at that compared to then he showed, and it's good. It's a great shot. But like
that's a solid.
Look at the depth of green. And I hope this can come through to everybody. But can you see the difference of how like, and this to me is like, why does my Sony feel a certain way and shooting on a Red feels a certain way? To me, it's in the greens. And here's like both side by side. You can kind of see it. Like the yellow in his shirt looks almost the same. It's a great H.265 codec. And like I said, I'm not beaten up on this camera yet because it's so.
I like the Kinefinity a little bit more. Like
you like that kind of.
It feels a little bit more film-like, just a little bit more Porsche 400, like a little more muted, a little bit more like, because you can easily go, okay, great, let me turn up the saturation just to like, you know, up 10.
You can color match it for sure, yeah.
Yeah,
but to me, there's a
solid neutral though. Like that's the Reds are a little in the, you know, the Red NE from the Nikon ZR, like the greens punch a little bit more, but like that is a like that is literally like a.
You say it. The only thing I will say is there's a reason why people buy the red color science, because it's not because like as a Sony shooter, you can get really close, but there's always a little like, what was that? Why is the Arri Alexa? Like, why do you watch certain Netflix shows, certain HBO shows? Like, why do you watch that and you go, wow, that's just, and the same way you're talking about, I do think there is a level of, and it's not as extensive as your lens character, but you said, oh, a lens character, you're getting a lens for a character. And I do think that some of these companies make choices when they're developing their sensor calibration. A lot of these companies aren't developing their own sensors, right? I don't think Kinefinity is developing their own sensor. They're pulling another sensor. It could be a Sony sensor. Sony sells a lot of sensors to a lot of other cameras. But how they connect all that data back into what we see as a visual image is color science. And I'm overly simplifying, but like that's a character in itself. Blackmagic has a certain cinema quality. It has a certain character. If you want to shoot, you have the Blackmagic 6Ks. Like if you want that, it has a certain, when you bring it in to DaVinci or to Premiere and you start working and manipulating those colors, you can say, it's just a boop. But when you start trying to mess with the greens, now you're pulling other colors into different zones, and it's not how it's shot. Yes, it is a very unfair comparison. That's what I was just saying. You may have joined late. It's a huge, what is this? The Last Movie Standing. I fully agree with you. Yes, I said that. It is a very unfair comparison. I totally agree. ProRes hasn't come out on that. So and honestly, the other version of this unfair comparison, Jake, don't ever shoot H.265 on the Nikon ZR. This thing would smoke it. I don't know what Nikon was doing, but they like fell asleep or they had AI code their H.265 for them because it's awful. So I agree with you.
Point.
Last Movie Standing.
An H.265,
it's good.
It's good. Also, it's a different lens. Like it's a completely
it's exactly the same lens. This is exactly the same.
Why is the roll off? Look at the roll off. Like look at the bokeh.
Yeah,
like, it's not at the same aperture, and so that's
it's go watch Russ. So the only thing I can say is
it doesn't look
what
like
he says.
That's my point is like it looks. The depth of field is totally different.
It renders differently. Different sensors.
Well, that's okay. I need to go watch this whole thing.
Yeah,
everybody, we have homework for the next episode. Go watch this. Go watch.
I'm not just gonna like screen record his review. Go watch Brandon Talbot's review because it was great. But I like the only thing I was like in my new love for this ZR. There is a certain character to the red color science that is when you look at it compared to something else, you go, damn, that just looks it looks different. It looks a little bit different. But for H.265, which is their early beta release that these guys got to test out, it looks good. It's clean. And that's, I guess, where
to me, I think that's why I like it. It feels because of the depth of field, because of the deeper depth of field. Like there's an aspect of it feels a little bit more film-like. Like, and it's been something I've seen, and which kind of transitions into a little bit of like what we're going to go into the next, which is all the film stuff. Like people are like, why does the quality of film feel different right now? And one of the arguments that I see online all the time is the depth of field. Everything is being shot so shallow these days for cinematic, like, whatever the reason is, but it's very much the trend these days to just shoot everything as shallow depth of field. And so it feels more real and more cinema, less real and more like this is a movie. Part of the argument is CGI, is all the green screen. So everything is like, it's this false sense of depth of field. And look, I'm shooting everything at 2.8 right now. Like I am definitely somebody who's doing the same thing. And, but it's fascinating because like that one, the lack of depth of field went, oh, this
It's different.
There's something
Different quality.
there's something film-like with this,
Yeah.
and just like that it didn't. We're seeing the Nikon ZR shot went, yeah, that looks like a digital camera. Like it looks like everything else I shoot. And so it just wasn't. It was just an interesting thing for me that when I went, oh, and I haven't gone, oh, on a camera in a while. I need to watch the whole thing to see, you know. But I'm excited. I would be shocked if they're not at Cine Gear this weekend.
They'll be they'll for sure be at Cine Gear, and you'll definitely be able to.
So I will not miss them this week.
You better not.
NAD, but I will not miss them. Kinefinity, I'm coming for you.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that from the indie filmmaker side. Last movie standing. It is 100% about the color science. Yeah, throw that up. I appreciate it, man. And so yes, I think that, and that's what Kinefinity has dialed in, is that kind of color science and professional workflow. And that is, you know, to button this up and move on, is that was what started my complaint with the GoPro launch, is that you're targeting this niche saying this is for professional filmmakers, but you're not giving us what we're used to as professional filmmakers, which is proper IO, proper codecs, proper memory cards, and proper communication with the lenses that we already have.
There was nothing new about it. That was the thing with the GoPro, to just shit on GoPro a little bit more.
Well, I've got one more point, but you hit yours.
That's all we're doing. But like,
I'm gonna cut an intro that's just GoPro.
Like,
it's just all of our best takes on GoPro.
Oh my God. We need to just, like, over the weeks. I mean, this is just
we're not gonna running gag. That.
It's like, if you're a fan of the Creative Lens, you understand that we have a weird hate with GoPro and just where it's going. But that was the thing. It's that there was nothing new.
Yeah.
When it first came out, it was new.
Yeah.
You know, and you see what DJI has done, what Insta360 has done. Like, they've done something new. They brought, and not just new for them, but new for the space.
I think, yes,
GoPro
I agree.
didn't do anything new for the space of filmmaking.
What, should I sell some Pokemon cards to get it? I put it up, you put it on. I say if no, I don't think so. I think your Pokemon cards will continue to collect, to appreciate and value maybe more than this particular camera. But it's a consideration.
This camera will, you know, okay, maybe not a year, but like 3 to 5 years, this camera will be outdated, just like every other freaking camera that comes down on the market. So unless you have that immediate use, it's not.
But I like the idea of funding my next camera purchase with Pokemon cards. If anything else, just to be like, I bought this one with my, you know, limited Charizard.
That's a solid YouTube challenge. Like trading up certain, like, you know, they're like, I started with a penny and I got to then a car and a house. But it's like, what are weird ways to get camera gear? I kind of like.
Yes. Again, I love you guys that are here right now, because I'm with you. I thought you we're doing this together, which is awesome. I apologize. So I thought it was going to be $299. And I think so. It on B&H right now. I'll show, like, I'll pull this up. Currently on B&H, it says. There we go. Okay. It says that you're saving. I don't know if you guys can see this. You're saving $500. So it may be a pre-order thing,
and it's $24.99.
But tying this back, GoPro said we'll give you $100 off, but you have to be part of our subscription model and you have to pay for our subscription. If this is Kinefinity's version of a pre-order, like no subscription, no extra cost for a year, you don't have to sign up for anything. If you trust them to do a pre-order, which, by the way, their pre-order went live today and all of the footage is live today. So if you want to go watch and see how exactly what Jake and I just did, I like my ZR footage better. I like the red code. You like the Kinefinity look better.
You showed
look at it
off frame. We saw off frame.
It's not fair. And it's H.265. We've covered it. But this is back to the GoPro launch and the things that frustrate me. It's not about GoPro. One, it bothers the shit out of me if somebody says it's a game changer, because that's all over YouTube. It's all over marketing. If you say it's a game-changing feature, it's game-changing. Like, I guess that's just an earworm tick for me. It bothers me. You better freaking change the game.
And that's what we were talking about with GoPro.
And then, well, that's what I'm saying. It's not game-changing enough to make that your marketing hype. And second, don't take my money and not let me have this debate with you, Jake, because I might hate the GoPro image. You might say this is the best image that they've ever put out. But like, let me see that before I put my pre-order down. And props to Kinefinity. So anybody that's watching, Jake too, go watch some of these reviews, and they did it right. In my opinion, they did it right. Every one of these reviewers is saying, guys, we're on buggy firmware. This is not the stuff you're going to get. You're going to get a better version. But the company said, put it out there, test it, tell us what works, tell us what doesn't. We're going to fix it. But like, they're not embargoing their creators to like wait for version 6 or 7 or 8. Yeah, they waited a little bit of time. Like, I didn't think it was going to come out this fast. When they teased it at NAB, I was like, all right, so we'll see it in like September. I didn't think they'd be dropping stuff in June, but the fact that they dropped it and now you can go pre-order it, and the expected shipping date's June 23rd.
Well, realize Cine Gear is this weekend. So they could have, dropped it because then Cine Gear's this weekend, and, people can actually come and see it, and,
Well, but they had that at NAB. So
That's
what I'm
true.
saying, though, is it's June 4th right now. They opened the pre-orders. Remember back when GoPro launched their Mission and their ILS was April 28th, something like that. It was like NAB showcase, right? They said they rushed it. Their launch, like they were launching on almost the same time. They're supposed to be shipping a lot of this, not for the ILS. That's not fair. But like the time between them announcing it and taking pre-orders to them shipping the camera is almost the same time as Kinefinity, announcing it today for pre-order, and it's coming out in 3 weeks. And you can see all the footage versus like what we just got to see GoPro footage like last week.
Yeah.
Right? Last week is when the GoPro footage kind of dropped, and it was kind of impressive in some parts and like kind of like, oh, this looks exactly like my 9 in certain other overexposed parts.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
Let me see the footage, and I won't shit on your company if you're releasing something new. Let me see footage, or give me a camera to test it. Fine. They didn't do that. I couldn't see the footage. And don't call it game changing if it's not game changing. It's just marketing hype, and it makes you want to go out and buy a camera that you don't need. I think we've talked about this, Jake. You've said it. I fully agree with you, although in practice, I am not as good at it. Don't buy a camera unless you have a use for it. If you don't have a need, if you don't have and if you don't know what the need is, marketing has gotten so good.
But even for me, like, and my wife makes me do this, and thank God, because we've saved a lot of money, which is go rent it. Like, it's so easy to go rent stuff now, like ShareGrid to, all the, like, I mean, that's local. Then you have all of these online, remote rental houses. Yeah. Like lensrental.com, whatever. They're all like rentyourlens.com and things like that. Like, super affordable, and usually give it to you for like a week, and like a couple $100 for things, like not expensive. Ship it right to your house. You ship it right back, and like, boom. And like, this is a perfect camera that, because it's a $2,000 camera, it will probably be like $100 to rent it.
Yeah.
For the week, or at least like a 3-day, 4-day weekend, like type of thing. Try it out. Shoot a project on it. Shoot some spec thing on it. Get a day to play with it, and then a day or so to shoot the project. Take it all in, and you're great. You're out $100, but like, you've shot something with it.
Right.
You can go, okay, great. Is it worth it? Or maybe we, rent it again, and then go, great. I love it. I'm obsessed. I know how to use it. This is the use cases for it. Boom. Swipe the card.
Phenomenal advice. Clip it. Keep that. That should go on your channel, because that is, and by the way, I'm calling you every time I'm like, oh shoot, Jake, I found another one. I gotta buy it on my credit card's
Rent
itching.
it.
I'm calling you first, man.
I'll be your sponsor. I'll be if anybody needs a gear sponsor, there's alcohol
Talk
sponsors,
us out of it.
drug sponsors. If you have a gear problem, call me. I will be your sponsor. Text me, DM me, and I'll talk you off the ledge.
Dude, I'm gonna do that more often.
Although
I will say, because I was thinking of you, and I was looking at this, your privilege is showing a little bit, sir, because LA is a totally different share grid experience than most other markets.
Hence why I said online rentals.
Yes.
Okay. I got
Lens, because I looked, I was like, because I was trying to find the Iron Stars and the Arcanas, the two anamorphic sets that I've been looking at, which those are more money than this whole camera for the set. But I was trying to rent them. The Arcanas aren't for rental yet. I think only a handful of people have them so far, so they're not in like lens rentals world yet. Some people have them on share grid, but it's like LA markets, so I can't get my hands on them just yet. But yeah, so, LA is a different market for rentals, but lens rentals is good.
Okay, I'm going to give you a quick story because I rented that. I've told you. Well, I mean, you know about that when I went to New York a couple months ago for my birthday, and I rented the Fuji GFX RF, or GFX 100 RF, the fixed frame, medium format, fixed lens, medium format Fuji camera.
Yep.
To rent it on ShareGrid, there was one dude who had it.
Yeah.
And it was like for the week, it was going to be like, it was like $200 a day. So it was going to be like $1,200 or something like that for the trip. The lens, several lens rental places had it that shipped it. So I shipped it to my hotel, or actually technically to a FedEx that was right a block from my hotel.
Yeah.
And shipped it right back. And it was like $300 for the week. And so that's why I'm a big proponent of, if you're going on a trip, you're doing something and you want to rent a camera, you want to rent some lenses, like there are so many, it is so widely available now. And there's so many opportunities and abilities to do this. You just gotta okay, great. Let me look here. Let me look there. But like, you gotta also have it make sense.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And one more on this one, because Last Movie Standing's backing me up on this. It is that's what I was saying, is that it is such a versatile mount. I would say the only thing that is close to this, and it's not as good, but Blackmagic does a really good job of giving you like lens mounts that you can interchange yourself. You still have to screw them off, and like the Pixis, you can go L mount, you can go EF mount, or you can go PL mount, and you can change them out. No, that's not the Pixis. It's the Ursa Cine 12K. You can interchange those on your own. The Pixis, you're kind of stuck either way. This, though, the fact that you can adapt it, like what he's saying, the fact that you can adapt
natively,
it, EF, P, PL, L, like anything. And if you can go, I don't know about the Z mounts actually, but like the fact that you can do those many different mounts, that's what was selling me on it. Because that's what I was saying. Like anything where I can use my E lenses somewhere. Oh my gosh.
But I can also on this project rent some anamorphics or a PL mount. Oh, this project I wanna try, Cooks, and they're all, and I have a buddy who has them in RF mount. Great.
Yeah.
Fine. Like it doesn't matter. And that's the kind of the cool thing about this is like I see this camera, like that's why I'm really excited to check this out at CineD Gear, because I really see how those lens adaptations, because then I'm like, ooh, just make sure each project has a little bit of a lens rental budget and, play with some fun lenses.
Your other homework for CineD Gear, just selfishly for me, and if anybody's watching and you want to give Jake homework for CineD Gear, because
what do you guys want to know?
We don't get to go. Please drop them in the chat, and we will
or
force
if you're
Jake
going
to answer.
To CineD Gear, come find me.
Yeah, if anybody's going,
all 10 people who are watching this.
Yeah. But my homework to you is I want you to go find those DZO Arcanas. I want you to look them, like pick them up if you can, because those are like, that is to me the perfect balance.
I'll hit you with that FaceTime.
Yeah. no, that we're going to definitely do that. But that Arcana is like right now the perfect balance of like they're light, they have a 1.5 squeeze, but they have an oval aperture, so you get more of the 2x squeeze look and feel. The only thing I can't quite tell, and like, you know, going back to you, they're not on the rental scene yet, so I'm going to rent them and check them out first before I, you know, pull the trigger on a $3,000 lens package. They're flares, and these are all kind of the pre-production-y models that people have been testing. The flares look a little wonky for my taste. They're a little blocky, but they're super lightweight. They look super cool. So that's your homework. Go find them.
So you're telling me, but there's a full set of anamorphics that you can get for $3,000?
Yes.
Because I don't know these lenses.
Yeah. Oh, no, we've talked about them, sir. You should know them. I think we talked about them when Todd was on. I'll find them for you. If you guys have seen these, I'm sure somebody in the chat has, because there you go. $28.99
for a 3-lens set for $3,000.
And they're cine, so all of the apertures and all of the focus rings are all in the same spot. They're nearly the same height on all of them. They're super lightweight. They look good. They have good characteristics, but they still have some like clinical sharpness. They're not the softest anamorphics, but they're not like tack sharp, just clinical throughout the board, which is like admittedly where a lot of my G lenses, my G Master lenses all feel like just very clinically sharp if you're trying to shoot something that needs a little more character, needs a little more oomph. So these things looked sick. And I have my headspace. So I was between that and the Iron Stars, which are a cool looking lens, but these guys have, they're from Suray. They have a lot more softness in the corners that I'm a little afraid of. I don't mind some softness, some vignetting in corners. When you start just like totally washing out your corners, you have to make sure all of your shots are, the mindset is that you know you're soft in the corners. You know, so that's where I'm like,
you got to change up your framing.
And anamorphics will all have some softness. It's the point, right? That's why we're buying it, is for the character, for the imperfections. If you want a surgically clinical thing, go get a G Master lens or go get an L lens from Canon. Like those things are, it's Sigma makes clinically. No, the Zeisses are like have character to them. That's why people shoot on them.
Yeah.
But it's like those clinical lenses where we've gotten so good. Honestly, the lens, I mean, even some of these, we covered it, 2 weeks ago? The Chinese lenses have mastered that you're getting 80, 90% of the clinical sharpness, edge to edge, from 2.8 all the way to 16 on your f-stops. Like they've mastered that. The struggle is kind of, okay, how do we kind of backwards engineer this to but it has really beautiful character. And so some of these, you know, the DZOs are ones that have been on my list.
What's amazing is like you can get a Kinefinity for $2,000. You can get these lenses for $3,000. So you're shooting an anamorphic film for $5,000 camera lens set.
And by the way,
you get
go ahead.
You get those, you know, as we were talking about, a LiDAR focus for it, and the ND, electronic ND. So you're in it for another, let's say another 1,000 or 1,500. Let's just be wild about it for like $6,500.
Yeah, I was going to say you're all in under $7,000. You're right.
And you can get a good tripod for a couple $100 nowadays too. For like a full camera set, you're in it for like $6,500, $7,000.
Well,
like,
here's the other thing.
Like you can make the amount of movies you can make and projects you can shoot for like $6,500, and then you're set. Okay, well, you might got to figure out a budget for memory cards, but that's a whole nother thing here or there.
But if you've got a good H.265 or you've got a ProRes 422, even LT, it sure hurts a lot less than what I'm feeling when I go shoot for 20 minutes and I've shot a 2 terabyte card. That freaking, I love the ZR. I hate that. I hope Nikon can figure out how to give me like a light version of that, and I would be very happy. But the other thing that I was seeing on a review too, just to button this, you don't need, you know, a 40-pound Sockler rated tripod either.
Yeah.
Because these things, you know, you're talking about a pound and a half for the Kinefinity and a couple of ounces, like 600 grams, I think, for the lens per lens, like a light kit for, and the other thing I was going to, you know, jump in to what you were saying is you have a true open gate 3x2 sensor in the Kinefinity. What a perfect pairing, because now you're squeezing it to open gate, you're stretching it out, you're not losing anything. The 16:9 sensors are a little harder to do that on. That's why the Panasonic's GH series got so big, is because you could shoot anamorphics and de-squeeze it and you had open gate. That's, to me, that's why open gate became a thing. It was the anamorphic community saying like, this works better if I can shoot on a 3x2 sensor and then squeeze it.
I'm sold. I'm shooting my next projects, all my next projects, anamorphic on the Kinefinity with the DZOs. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Do you ever remember, were you into film? Anybody here in the chat too? Like, were you guys watching this or in it when our best as like solo creators, the best things you could do was buy like old projector lenses? And like, I can't remember his name on YouTube, but it was like, you had to adapt the shit out of all of these lenses. And like, you had no options if you wanted to shoot anamorphics. And you want to talk about like weird character on lenses, like weird stuff. It's gotten so good. Like the fact that we're talking about full anamorphic lenses for under $3,000 is bonkers.
It's pretty wild. Like it makes me go, okay, great. What project can I go convince a client to shoot anamorphic on?
Yeah. You want that cinema look.
Can we just, you know, hey, yeah, let's just shoot anamorphic on this. Why not?
Yeah. Hey, if you can pull focus on it. So that's my point.
You get the LiDAR.
You can.
You don't even need, that's the cool thing about it. Like, okay, rent the LiDAR for it, you know, for the weekend, for the week or for the day. Like, and I'm sure it's again, at most it's $1,000 with the DJI one. So what is that going to be renting? $50?
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine it'd be more than $100 to go rent the LiDAR.
Yeah, I'd be interested. I've never tried to price out like the LiDAR system. $46 for a week.
$46 for the week.
$59 for the whole range, like the whole kit.
I mean, yeah. I mean, why not? You don't even need to, that's the thing, is like, you don't even need to buy that. Like, great, it's $1,000. You don't need to buy it. Rent it just for the shoot. And it's $50 for the week. Like, tell me when you're on even a week shoot. And like, cool, there's certain projects that you'll pull it by hand, certain projects that you're like, great, I'll get the LiDAR because I'm shooting this documentary, or I'm shooting, like, it makes me want to go shoot every documentary anamorphic on the running gun by myself. Like, I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Like I'm getting more hyped the more we talk about this. Like,
yeah.
All right, hold on. We got another.
And man, last movie, Shannon, you're here.
The BTS has shot monsters on the P2 with those crazy projector. This is what we're talking about.
Yes. I'm glad somebody else lived this experience with me, because like the amount of weird stuff you had to do to adapt like old projector lenses to try and get anamorphics. If you weren't shooting on Panavisions or on Cooks, and you had like, and some of the adapters, you had like you had to dual focus because you had like a diopter in the front to get the focus to work right onto the sensor. And it was a pain. The fact that we get to talk about all this stuff, and like, it's expensive gear, but Jesus, it was so freaking hard 10 years ago to shoot if you didn't have the budget.
In the scheme of things, it's not that expensive. That's the crazy thing. Like if you like lenses and camera and everything is still cheaper than a red. Like the camera and lenses, like the red Komodo is like $5K. For
I would argue I picked up my my ZR for $1,700 bucks.
No, I'm talking about cinema. Like I'm talking cinema, you know, not in the mirrorless.
Oh,
world.
you're bodyist. I understand. If it's not a box camera, okay. I'm
just giving an example. Okay, that for
if you don't shoot a box camera, you're not really shooting on cinema.
I'm just giving an example that for $5K you can get 3 anamorphics and a camera
and a LiDAR.
Like, it's and you know, it's a wild time we're living in.
Yeah. So that's kind of transitioning into the next thing we have to talk about is how cheap really good filmmaking has become, and that the creator pipeline has become this freeway. It's not a pipeline anymore, man. It's a full-on highway to beating Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
Like you can be all in on your first camera package for less than $7,000. As Curry Barker says, you can go shoot a whole bunch of shitty movies and you can learn and you can put it up on YouTube and you can get roasted in the comments and you can learn and you can do it all for less than $7,000, right? You can go make shitty movies with your friends and then you can make, what were you saying? A 200x return on your first feature?
You can technically, I think it was his second or third, but you know, I saw this meme right before we started. Gotta love movie set memes because I saw this meme right before we started.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's so true. It's so true. Like YouTube is now becoming the feeding ground for the next wave. And it's beautiful that Hollywood's starting to catch on to it. And like it's completely changed the game. Like AMC, if you haven't seen, like our feed, Colden and I's feeds are just full of this stuff because it's amazing what these filmmakers have done recently. But like AMC, we're back, baby. We're back. That's what's so exciting is that Hollywood movie making, we're back. We're coming back. And $2.25 million in the month of May, highest since 2019. So we are back post-COVID, people in the movie theaters. And what was cool is I don't think it was on I don't remember, I don't have it saved. But what was so cool seeing was like with Backrooms and Obsession is how much of the younger audience, like the Gen Z audience, were coming out to theaters. And that was what was so rad about seeing this. And freaking Backrooms opens up this last weekend and made $135 million in the box office. And domestically almost broke 100 million opening weekend. And this kid is 20 years old, Colden.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little upsetting. It's a little upsetting because we all wish we were that prodigy.
20?
We wish we were all that prodigy, and we aren't. But Kane is. And oh my God, just absolutely murdered. Just, it's amazing. Which I didn't pull this up. But what I'm fascinated about, no, I can't see it here. Let me do this. A24 box office. Oh, this is got too many things. I want Box Office Mojo. I want to see the stats. It won't show me. All right. Oh my goodness. Can't even. What are we doing here? What do we see? This is why we prep these shows. This is why we prep the shows.
I was gonna say never in my bingo card.
Yeah. crossed 100 million in 6 days to become A24's biggest movie. A24's biggest movie, directed by a 20-year-old Kane Parsons. That is unbelievable.
What else does did A24 help produce? Because you know this stuff more than I do. I can talk about Kinefinity's mount for days, but because you were telling me everything.
I'm gonna miss movies, but like, I mean, they are, you know, they are making, you know, they've been making some of the biggest movies. Some Marty Supreme that came out, Warfare that came out. What are other, you know?
Oh yeah,
The Brutalist, The Green Knight, Captive. I mean, literally, like they are. I mean, that was just some of the top stuff. But like, here, this is on Rotten Tomatoes at least. But you know, from Lady Bird, eighth grade, Moonlight, Minari, like they are Sing Sing, like they are making the greatest independent films right now. Like you have an argument between A24 and Neon of like who's really crushing it, but like between the two of them, they're crushing it, right? Yeah. And so let me just see this A24 box office rankings. Right. So we're just going to be on Wikipedia for a second because, you know, it's easy. Highest grossing films, Backrooms. Right there.
Yeah.
Marty Supreme, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Civil War.
Oh, they did A24 did that. I mean, I remember when that came out. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, literally it's unbelievable. So that definitely helped with, you know, AMC coming out and you know, winning. But, you know, they did talk about like you've had, Mandalorian that came out, Devil Wears Prada, Michael, Project Hail Mary, Super Mario. But what's so cool is like, because I saw another post which is like, why is Devil Wears Prada and Michael not getting, and you know, Mandalorian not getting all of this press like Obsession and Backrooms? And somebody then was like, Devil Wears Prada made for 100 million, made 200 million. It was like or 250 million or something like that. And was a 2.5x return.
Yeah. It's a good return, but
Michael
didn't lose money.
Made for like 200 million and made 500 million again, like, or like made 700 million. And it was like a 3.5x return. Backrooms made for 10 million, made 100 million its first weekend, a 10x return in its first weekend. Obsession made for $750,000. It is now made $160 million. What? That's a I can't even. I don't even know. I can't even do the math. It's broken $100 million. Obsession domestically on a $750,000 budget.
Yeah, and it's projected to do like 250 million. Like that was the estimate.
So it just got an extended run now. So usually these films get like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It just got a full 45-day release, which is unheard of for this space. Absolutely unheard of. And I mean, as you see, it's been out for 4 weekends. It made, and this is just the domestic, right? It went up all 3 weeks. And look at the dip in just this last weekend.
Which is where generally, like, usually you make your money in the first weekend, first two. You don't usually keep the linear money-making train going for 4 weeks.
Exactly. You know, like you don't get to it. This is not normal, right? So, they don't show this. I'm trying to pull up stuff back behind the scenes, and we don't get to see. And so, but I was trying to pull some of this other stuff up, and so what's amazing is that, you know, it's only fallen off a little bit. Like it's still more than its second weekend, which is unbelievable. Meaning like the dip is very small. And that's what's so amazing about this. And what I saw though, which is what I think I sent you this right before the show, so I don't know if you saw this. And so this is the big argument. It's like, okay, great. How do what if crews got a percentage? Because it's always notoriously known, like, movies don't make money. It's the rare outliers. Right. And then if they do get money, the only people who have what's called points, is a percentage of the movie when it does make money, is what's called above the line. This is the producer, the director, and the actors. And hence all the rich and famous people who work in film. But all of the crew notoriously just get day rates. So, something like this, a cinematographer getting $700 a day on a 20-day shoot, get about $14,000. It's a good paycheck, right? Gaffer,
that was wild to me, though, that when you send that to me, that cinematographer, if this is, and again, that
it's saying like on average, this would be like an industry average.
$700 a day, though, and you just made $250 million.
Well, it's 160 million right now. They've
projected by the end of the run. And Last Movie Standing points out too that they're going to streaming after this. They're going to keep making money.
Oh, this movie is going to make a fortune.
Yeah.
So okay, to the production assistant making $200 a day, right? Made $4,000, right? This is a standard. These are standard rates.
Those are day rates.
Yeah, these are standard rates. Nothing is, you would make, this is what you would make working on the film. They've done, if they got 1% of the gross, that would be, and split across the 25-person crew.
Yeah.
Everyone would get about $100,000. That is insane. The PA who made $4,000 would have walked away with another $100,000. And so that's like, it shows the arguments. Like, look, like, to me, it makes me go like, yeah, I'll give 1% to my crew who made this, and to all of the team who made this work. Because then imagine you're coming back again, and we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it again and again. Like, it just goes to show you like how much money there is in film. And like, it very much is possible to make a unbelievable living on this. And you just got to make a good movie, but you can make a great movie for between $1 million and $10 million. Proven. Like, two of the biggest films right now made for $10 million and $750,000. So
yeah. I will say, if you haven't seen it, there's a clip of Jason Alexander from Seinfeld talking about how they negotiated. Have you seen this? They negotiated their rate for Seinfeld, and he like admits, like, I'm pro and cons on this, but he basically admits like they broke the system by negotiating that way to get points, where like you ate your margin away because you paid these actors so much. So it's wild how much, like, using that as kind of a look at how much money this made. But it is interesting. I just hear that other clip in my head of like, if everybody gets points, whoo, like, it's crazy how much money that made.
Yeah. I mean, Seinfeld was also the biggest television show in the world.
And that's why they could do it.
Yeah. I mean, Friends then did the same thing. And then Big Bang Theory followed right behind them.
That's his point. So the clip I found is a 30-minute clip. We're not going to go sit through and watch it, but I will maybe put it in show notes or something if I can find the clip that's just that. But it's, that's his thesis, is like, once they did it, now everybody's done it, and it makes the movie making more difficult because because your margins are now smaller. Do either of us know how Obsession was distributed? So Jake, you do kind of know at least the story of how it was distributed and picked up. Maybe I don't know as much. I will say, Last Movie Standing. This was Jake's find on his radar a couple of weeks ago. We started talking about it even before they launched.
So this was made completely independently. Curry had, again, you guys, definitely, this is not 100%. Please fact check me. Please call me out. But if I'm not mistaken, an independent producer had found Curry. I mean, obviously he's been working his butt off as No Bad Idea on a sketch comedy, very much the Jordan Peele route. And then he made a viral short film called The Chair, which did well. Then he made a found footage feature film, again, both put on his YouTube channel, which was for $800. And that also went viral and got a lot of attention. And then, if I'm not mistaken, a producer linked up with him. They independently raised $750 and then went and made the movie. And then Focus Features picked it up and are distributing it. And so, I mean, it just crushed. Like, it's just wild where, you know, and again, it was just like, go make it on your own. And that's what we're talking about. It's like, cool. All right. You can honestly, like, for at most 15 grand. I'm going to just be like, if you want to be indulgent, you can spend 15 grand and you have all your gear for all your departments and go make a movie. Like, or go make, but that gear can last you movie after movie after movie after movie. Like, you can go make 5-10 feature films. And then release them all on YouTube, which, again, if we go back to it, their YouTube videos got them movie deals with Hollywood. Why can't you do that? And the only reason, and this is my opinion, is just you're not doing it. You have to go make the movie. You have to go write a good script, or you got to go find a writer who has a good script. And it's something my wife and I talk about, which is just like, you got to write in a box. Obsession was a very simple idea, and they shot it in LA. Like, it, not that hard. And one of the, you know, yeah. So I know you had something on Kane talking about.
Well, I would say so. I think here, you'll know about Filmmaking Landscape is now after this. Did it with Lights Out. Yeah, Lights Out was another one of these that was just like, just came out of nowhere. My big thing is like, it's so refreshing for me to see new people. Like, what I was saying is, like, not on my bingo board was that YouTube was going to save the movie industry. Like, YouTube was going to go save AMC and make people want to go back to the movies. So that's amazing. To your point of just rent the gear, and I think to what we're talking about here and what Last Movie Standing was talking about is, like, I do think before you go spend 15 grand on making a film, you know, we talked about like the fear of trying to make something perfect. And what Curry said in our, you know, the clip from last show was, go make a shitty film, go put it out on YouTube. And one amazing thing is that you learn so quickly about what hits, what doesn't, how to keep attention, how not. And you just, like, that's your film school. You get instant feedback. And what I was telling Kate, you know, my fiance, was last week, was like, it is tough on YouTube because you instantly know what doesn't work. You just don't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
So they don't tell you, you know, your YouTube analytics aren't going to tell you like, oh, this is how to fix your drop in, you know, your fall off. But you'll see your fall off, and you'll see, oh, this is where I hit them. This is the hook. This is what didn't work.
And that's the amazing thing with this stuff, is like, you get that instant feedback. And the one thing I don't like about it is, like, it comes down to packaging so much. And it's like, it's the constant thing. It's like, what is the title and thumbnail? Like, if you don't know the title and thumbnail first, don't even make the video. And that's the one thing as a filmmaker I don't enjoy about YouTube, because it's hard. Because, like, okay, great. Like, you have to think with that so much, and not just like, let me just make a good film. And so it's an interesting thing, because, like, again, if you don't have the title and the thumbnail, not gonna, like, it's gonna be harder to go make the film.
I would say yes and no.
I shouldn't say harder to make the film. It's harder to get attention for the film.
But in terms of packaging, how is title and thumbnail different than title and movie poster, title and trailer. Like you're constantly having to tell your story in a way that catches people's attention. And with YouTube, you're just doing it on multiple videos, multiple packaging. You're trying all the time to package everything.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's an interesting time and space we're in.
Yeah. It's cool. I'm a huge fan of putting stuff out, and right now it feels like the volume is on YouTube.
Yeah.
Put your stuff out there and get feedback on it, you know? So my thought, what are you looked like you were looking something up, so I was giving you a little bit of time.
We were gonna talk about we just talk way too much about gear, which is fantastic. And that's
my brain, man.
We're gonna talk about AI. And I know you have some clips, and I was like, oh, I saw this clip, and I was pulling it up. But we can, whatever we want to talk about.
You find your clip. So the transition for me though was Kane talking about AI and where I struggle with AI in a creative space. So this was Kane getting asked, what your thoughts are on AI.
Embrace AI. That's
absolutely not.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Tell us why.
I mean, for me, the whole point of doing what I'm doing, like art is a way of processing life. That's inherently what it's supposed to be for most people. I don't see the value in like outsourcing any element of that. And when I'm looking at someone else's project, if I see an element of the environment has been like, they use generative fill or whatever to change something about the scene, even if it just shuts off the part of my brain that wants to know more about that world and wants to look for details, because I would assume if they're willing to make an arbitrary choice there, they could make an arbitrary choice with literally anything.
It's an interesting, I had two thoughts on this when I saw this clip, and I thought, wow, what a perfect transition, because damn, is he well-spoken and like thoughtful.
20 years old.
20-year-old kid.
20 years old.
Who just made a feature film that went 10x over what he spent for it.
On opening weekend.
But he built his whole thing in CGI. Does some of this not, and I've got a pro and I've got a con on this, but does some of this not feel like the same arguments of CGI when CGI kind of started? Oh, you're not shooting a real thing, you're creating it with computer graphics. Like, isn't that some of the same arguments we heard in the 90s and early 2000s on CGI? What are your thoughts?
Well, yes and no, but okay. So I now have a similar, because you were talking about like, he did all of the pre-pro in Blender, as we talked about last week. And we're gonna go from one of the youngest filmmakers to one of the OGs of, and the top filmmakers of all time.
Oh, dude,
embrace AI. That's
absolutely not.
He got in trouble for this. I think I know the clip that you're talking about. Do you have audio on it, or is it just a clip here?
Was it not playing?
No.
Oh.
I'm not hearing anything. Is this about how he uses AI to do storyboarding?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's annoying that, yes. So he's talking about, oh, that's so lame. Basically, he's talking about how, he's, kind of starting to embrace AI purely for the storytelling. And there was another post, and I don't know where exactly it is, so I had to pull this up on the fly. But basically, that he's like, no, I'm not going to use it for filming, actor replacement, scripting, anything like that. But if it can help my pre-pro, and it's a tool to be able to make me more creative and not replace people, but I can better prep, I can better communicate. And it was something that I see so much of this stuff so fast and so much that I forget. There was somebody else who was talking about it, like one of the hardest things as a director is, and I think, maybe it was Martin, where the hardest thing as a director is to communicate what's in your head correctly. And if you can, with AI, go, oh, that's what I want it to look like. oh, okay, and then go do that. And so it was just an interesting argument. And because I was like, oh, personally, I like that. That doesn't feel like it's breaking any artistic integrity.
Yeah. I'm 50-50 because the way I feel about it and I'm trying to find, I had that Seth Rogen clip pulled up, and I wonder if that makes sense here. But the argument would be, though, to me, is like, even on CGI, and here's why it was Martin Scorsese, right? The clip, and he's talking about doing his like previs with it. He was adamantly against CGI, adamantly against it. And so then to be like, well, you've just kind of hating on CGI for 20 years and saying how that's going to ruin the film industry. And then, also I'm going to go use AI to do all of my previs stuff. That's why he got wrecked for it. It felt a little bit hypocritical when he was doing that. But I found it. My issue with kind of subcontracting out to AI is kind of what Seth Rogen, which is funny that Seth Rogen, super bad Seth Rogen is our but
he's a
morality here.
Highly prolific writer. Like,
that's what he's talking about.
And what it's supposed to do.
As ridiculous as Seth might be, he is a highly prolific writer.
I don't understand what it's supposed to do. Every time I see a video on Instagram that's like Hollywood is cooked, what follows is like the most stupid dog shit I've ever seen in my life. And so, and if your instinct is to use AI and not go through that process, you shouldn't be a writer.
No,
because then you're not writing. You're not writing. Go do something else.
Yeah, computer.
Exactly. And if you don't want to go through the process, you shouldn't be a writer. Like the whole the idea of a tool that makes me write less is not appealing to me. Because I like writing. Yeah.
So I like that take, because that's my biggest dichotomy. I find myself reaching to AI a lot for some of the things that I'm either not strong at or, helping me with writing. I'm not a great writer, but I do understand this idea of like, if you don't want to go through that process, I see people that use it so much as a crutch that it becomes like you've never gone through the process of improving that thing that you say you want to be good at.
You're not doing
writing.
Yeah, you're not doing it. Your AI is doing it.
Yeah.
And, it's what we talked about. We played, the clip a while ago, but the Suno, which is the music AI app, the CEO versus Prince,
Right.
And you see a lot of it. I'm very fortunate that my parents are both artists. And so I've seen them. It's like, no. And I've been growing up doing it, where it's like, you kind of have to just go through the process till eventually you do get good at it. Yeah. And that's the fun of it, is like, let me figure this out. Let me figure this out. And, I think it's a totally, you're totally on the point right here. It's like, if you can use it for the right things, like if it is a tool for the right things, like I like it in the previs. I love this idea of using it in previs because, okay, great. How should the costumes look? How should, what is that shot? Let me use it to be able to communicate with, a DP who isn't Roger Deakins yet. But if we can say, I can go, great, I'm not Steven Spielberg and he's not Roger Deakins. But I can go, great, I want it to look like this. And it gives us a better, rather than just trying to find other film references and other, which are great. And there are great tools like that, like if Shot Deck and whatever. You just look up all of these, websites that have iCandy.com, I think it is another one, where they have all of these amazing stills and you can look at, but you can also use it. So there's those tools if you don't want to use AI, but you can also go, no, I want it to look a little bit more like this, a little bit more like this, oh, this is what I want to look at. And a good TP then can go, okay, great. Let me figure that out, how to achieve that look. Yeah,
I think so. I told you I had a pro and a con kind of this DP argument the AI argument that Kane kind of was talking about and Seth was talking about as well. So in terms of CGI versus AI, I think the only thing that's difficult for me morally, I guess, is understanding that as a CGI artist, go look at the first Avengers movie and the credits of the artists that were in charge of rotoscoping, that were in charge of matte painting, that were in charge of 3D modeling. Like, you are in certain ways creating something from nothing in a digital ones and zeros kind of way, but you are creating something. The only difficult part is like Martin Scorsese, and I get it from an indie point of view because the argument's always going to be like, well, we just didn't have the budget for that. But to knowingly use generative, which is not generating, I think that's my moral complaint about it, is like, you're not actually generating anything new with your prompt. You're taking from training sessions of hundreds of thousands of frames of, Martin Scorsese's movies, Roger Deakins' movies, to then go and generate this new idea. But so to me, that's where like Joseph Gordon-Levitt rails against the technology in this space a lot, and he's a really good thought leader on some of this stuff. But that idea that it's kind of theft in a little way, but if you're using it to generate photos and they're training those photos, because Jake, you post your photos online all the time and you've said you've agreed to terms and services. So, oh, by the way, your photos now showing up as part of the AI training. It's funny to me how quickly people will put in so much information into these models to get an answer out. But that's where it's just like, I use it, and I'll tell you my new favorite way of like, I've used Claude in a way to make the YouTube process more fun. But there is a little bit of this, like, if you aren't willing to go through the process, you're just using a crutch that is like, at what point does it stop being a tool? You stop getting good at your art form. You're no longer an art form. You're a prompt generator,
Yeah. And to your point on the VFX artists, this happened a little bit ago. So this is not breaking news by any means, but I remember this video and I had to go find it, but it's,
what it's supposed to do. Every time I see a video.
Wow. You look a lot more like Seth Rogen. That's weird.
I know. So I can never pronounce her name correctly. Nope. The girl from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Got it.
The lead actress from Ant-Man and the Wasp. So
yeah.
Disney laid off a bunch of their VFX artists. And so this is an interesting take because it's exactly what you were saying. No? Turn on the audio. Can you hear the audio or no?
No.
Dang it.
Oh, I know why. You're pulling stuff up. Here's what we got to do. I'll talk about what I've been doing.
You have to. We're gonna go back here, and I'm gonna work some stuff in behind the scenes.
Yeah, you're gonna have to share your audio when you share your screen. Technical difficulties with this. It's always fun when you share your screen. There's a check mark. It should just automatically happen, but it doesn't. So I will tell you as you kind of dig this out, and it, by the time you get your clip, it might be a weird transition. But I will tell you my favorite way of using. So I was like working back and forth with Claude in terms of like developing a web app. But what I used this web app for is I literally had a shot list and a script. Did you get it to work?
Almost. We're almost there.
Okay, you're testing stuff. So I had a shot list. I had a script. I said, make this into like almost a game for me. Like I want to check off boxes. I want experience points. And I want to like, the way you work through like a checklist as you're like going down and you're getting points on things. And so I was like gamifying this. And I think that is man, did that make the process of going through this a little more enjoyable? I think that's a way to do that for whatever niche you're in, whatever job you have. If you've got a set of tasks to do, just chores. You can create a web app game for your chores, for your shot lists.
I did the same thing. I that's where I love AI is all the stuff I don't want to do. All the business stuff, all the work stuff, like great. Let's get that all figured out so I can go make more movies, so I can go play with cameras, so I can go shoot, so I can go hang out with my family. Like all of the other things that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Like I don't care to have 100-person company. So am I taking job? Like maybe, but I also like, I don't care to be the executive and the CEO of 100-person company. Like that takes a certain individual.
Yeah.
So, okay. I have a slight callback. We're going to have two different things that I want to talk about.
At Disney, and Marvel Studios just took the worst of it. Yesterday, the company laid off approximately 1,000 employees company-wide, and nearly the entire visual development team at Marvel was let go.
Before I spread this post, when I saw it on social media, I needed to fact check it. So I reached out to my good friend Andy Park, who was the genius behind creating the original Wasp supersuit and the original Wasp concept drawings for the film Ant-Man and the Wasp, and just said, is this true? Is this really what's happening? And he said, yeah, it's true. I have been let go. And I can't quite believe that.
So she goes on to talk some more, but that's the core of the idea. It's like these individuals who, it's not just like, oh, rotoscope. Like, look, all VFX artists are amazing, but it's not the day laborers of VFX in the sense of like, we're rotoscoping this. Okay, are there faster ways to rotoscope? There's not as much creativity with rotoscoping. It's just, it's tedious. And it, you know, you have to be very exact. But the person who created this stuff, that created the look, created the concept art behind, like, we're talking the top level guys are feeling it and getting let go. And that's the part of the AI stuff that I get defensive, like both of us get defensive about, is like, that's shitty.
Yeah.
But
I love this. Sorry.
I have the argument on the other side.
Go.
Because that's the problem. Because then this happens.
Henry Cavill just suffered a huge box office flop, and hardly anyone noticed. Have you heard of the movie In the Gray? This action thriller stars Henry Cavill, Jake Gyllenhaal, Eiza Gonzalez, and Rosamund Pike, and it was written and directed by Guy Ritchie. It shot in 2023 on a budget of at least $59 million, though some reports say the budget was as high as $70 million. And after a long and messy post-production process that included scrapped reshoot plans, In the Gray finally came out in theaters on May 15th of this year. Distributor Black Bear gave it a wide release on 2018 screens. And it did just $3 million opening weekend, debuting in 9th place, failing to even beat the theatrical re-release of Top Gun. And then in its second week, it saw a 68% drop-off, making just $933,000, falling to 12th place. Then this past weekend, it was in 18th place, doing just $74,000. It's going to be available on demand at home today, June 2nd. So its box office total worldwide is just $13.4 million. $3 million of which came from Russia, by the way. And needless to say, that's a huge loss for a movie that cost at least $60 million. How did this happen? Well, it seems the marketing for the movie was non-existent. Black Bear didn't even screen it for critics, and of the critics who went to go see it in theaters, 48% of the 52 reviews assessed by Rotten Tomatoes were positive. Sometimes with a movie like this, the idea is that they'll make money on VOD and with licensing. But it is somewhat surprising to see two big stars like that and a recognizable director fail in this way.
So that's where, you know, it's rough to see this, you know, because you get a movie like that made for anywhere between 60 to 70 million dollars, make 5 million, I forget the number, but like abysmal. Yeah. And you go like, oh, well, you just need AI. Like, we got to make this cheaper. We got to but then you have obsession and, you know.
I was going to say, it showcases how impressive Backrooms, Obsession, Iron Lung, like these movies that were made on nothing. But again, like, that's where YouTube cut the teeth of these newer directors that can keep your attention, that can market, you know, that don't need $1 million marketing plan to what was interesting there, and what I always see as the issue, like the clip you just played. Anybody that's still watching, if you're a Firefly or Serenity fan, Firefly, like deep cut, there's a deep reference. But Firefly failed despite having this like now cult following. They're relaunching Firefly now. It was like, it's a 20-year-old TV show. They're relaunching it now as animated because there's so many people that watch it. But what happened to why did it die so badly? The network that picked it up fully mismarketed it, bounced it around a bunch of different time slots, and sold it as something that it totally was. And finally, it found the audience that it meant for the whole time. But if you are not marketing and not voicing your movie the right way, you are going to kill it before it even gets to box office. And it sounds like that was a nightmare to try and reshoot, and you can't. And a lot of times, that's the shitty part about the very high budget things, is you've got a lot of money on the line and a lot of people that have a lot of say, where for a $750,000 movie, you only have a few people that have to say stuff, and you can get it done a lot faster. It's the difference between a speedboat and a cruise ship. You're not going to change direction really fast on a cruise ship, where Obsession is a cigarette boat. Like you're in wherever you want to go, and if you need to make a change or a reshoot, it was Markiplier.
And it's also two kids, to be blunt, to call them kids because they're like 25 years old, and I feel really old. But it's two kids who understand marketing, because they know YouTube, so they understand how to make viral content. Like they also inherently understand what that means and what that goes into it. So it's like, hey, why don't we listen to them? And with Kane Parsons, he comes from YouTube, doesn't make sketches, but it's very much like Iron Lung is, built that following.
Yeah. I love this question. And so I didn't want to like leave in here. Yeah.
I have thoughts.
I know you have thoughts.
I have thoughts.
Give me your thoughts. It's a tough feel you for where you're at with music licensing. That is a tough spot to be.
Yeah. This is my thought is don't spend $10,000 on music licensing.
Yeah.
But seriously, like, don't dig yourself into that hole. Like, you make an indie feature film for $15,000. Like, so I'll give it to you this. I got inside information. And I can't tell you sources. I can't tell you, but I don't even know if I should say the name of the film. There's a big film.
Yeah, just do that.
Very, very big film that just came out. I'll say it's on Apple TV. We'll leave it at that. We'll let some conjecture in the audience in the comments. It's on Apple TV, and the director wanted to get all of this music licensed and couldn't because it was self-funded, and it's a little bit, add a couple zeros to that music licensing fee. Add a couple zeros. And didn't know what to do. Hired a composer to try to get as close to that sound. It got picked up by Apple TV, and Apple went, "We love it. Here's a check. You want the music? We got you the music." And all of the original music was there. So what I would say is, if the music licensing costs you $10,000, go find stock music as close to that as possible. I personally am opposed to using AI music because it doesn't feel right. It doesn't, like, there's a missing emotion behind the creativity of it. You can find great stock music, but you just have to take the time to look for it. Get a couple of subscriptions that are, spend a couple $100 for 2-3 months to find, or a month, and spend the $30 here or the free trials and cancel, and then go, great, find that right piece of music. Or find a young, hungry composer who will compose it for free because they want to be connected to an indie feature, right?
Yep.
There are so many good composers that would, to be honest, happily do it for free because they want to cut their teeth. They want to be like, I got a feature done. So, you know, you had another follow-up. The problem with music rights is that nobody talks about how much they charge for feature films versus just the YouTube videos. You know?
Yep.
100%. But the thing is this, like it's just, you just got to look at like creative ways. 100%. Like, and that's part of, you know, and as we're going through, and, you know, with Curry's, what he said is, this is part of the learning experience. Like, that's part of the film school of this, is to go learn these lessons and go, okay, great. How do we get crafty? And like a great producer, whether it's you as the director producer or you working with the producer, will go, okay, great. Let's find another solution. Let's find another solution. Let's take another meeting. And that's what money buys you. By having a budget, it buys you the, great, let's just go to this person. He knows it. It's great. It costs more. We're going to get it done. You don't have the money, got to be a little craftier. That's my soapbox.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Honestly, though, thank you to everybody. Like, you guys that have been down in the comments, man, it makes the show more fun when we have, you know, input. So
you get heated. You get heated, Jake, by you know, you get hot takes and heated comments.
I think though, like, to just piggyback on your thought, just to kind of to close, I think that crowdfunding your beginning films when you don't have a lot of money is like, there is such a great connection. I know so many musicians that are like putting their own, like, didn't Justin Bieber start on YouTube? Like, there are plenty of musicians that are hyper talented that are just trying to get their stuff out on Instagram or on YouTube, or just kind of like they're making music videos. There is such an easy, it's not easy. It takes work, but like crowdfunding that in a way, like putting that out on social media, putting that out on YouTube, looking for people to partner with. And I think of like how Christopher Nolan, you know, why did Christopher Nolan do the Batman? Because he got to do the Prestige. Like he will constantly talk about like, I will do one for them, one for me. I'll do one big studio film because that's what they want. And then I'll do my kind of weird Tenet movie.
Scorsese talks about it all the time. Talks about it like he's arguably, you know, he's the guy who lived and died by that rule. Two for them, one for me. Two for them, one for me.
Could you not go, you know, I partner with somebody either locally or close or in a city or drivable? Like, if you are on a sharing budget, could you not find somebody and go, look, I'll shoot your music video for you. Great musician. Can you help me? I'm working on this thing. Can you do all my music for me? I'll trade you 2 music videos or whatever. Get it in writing, especially if you're trying to go sell this. Like, make sure you have a solid contract, because that's tough about music rights. As you blow up this indie film, you win Sundance, you get it picked up. Like, you better have a contract licensing that music for sure. Do it professionally. But like, there are so many. I just think of like, there were so many important. The best part about film school is your community film school, right? We both, like Jake, we both went there. So if you're studying film, you got sound designers and music that are also there.
But they're the ones the thing with YouTube now. Like, to be blunt, I'm just going to jump in, like, because I didn't take advantage of the network in college. That's my biggest regret of film school, is I did not build those relationships. But right now, you could easily, to again solve this guy's problem, this girl's problem, this individual's problem. It's like, go on YouTube. Either if it's music licensing for like, and you want kind of more band type music, find musicians, email 100 of them, DM 100 of them. You will find somebody will say yes, and we'll do it for free because it's your first feature. Because they also want sync music and say, great, I'll give you a percentage or whatever, or I'll just, you know, you get to. We work as a team. Find, you know, build a relationship. If you want more, you know, cinematic, you know, score type music, search in film composer, indie film composer, upcoming film composer on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Find 100 of them. Talk to 100 of them. Someone will say yes. Or a combination of 3 of them will say yes. The problem is you will actually have the opposite problem. You will have multiple people saying yes. And then you will have to make sure it is the right person who is talented enough to do it. That is the good problem you want to have. People want to work. And that's the great thing with artists, true artists, and this kind of wraps up the AI idea, is true artists like to make art. That is why, like, yes, there are the artists who are extremely successful, but that's why there's the cliche of the starving artist, because at the end of the day, as an artist, you're happy just to make art. You don't actually care about getting paid. We are happy to just make this stuff, especially if it is our art and not just like, oh, here's a corporate video. Well, pay me for the corporate video. But hey, we're going to shoot this dope idea. We're going to make this awesome music that's us and me and my idea. I'll pay to do that stuff, which we do.
Yeah. Yep. I like it. I think the only other thing, like I get the other side of it, that everything in this business is expensive. You know, hell, we spent the first half of the show talking about, you know, $7,000-8,000 of camera kit. But I will say, and Jake, you brought this to the show, to me. You go watch the CEO of Suno talk what he actually thinks and believes in music and artists, and that'll just kind of button the that's why I don't appreciate it, like it, want to use it, because like if it's built by artists for artists, if it's a new tool, cool. I don't get the sense that this guy likes music or artists or musicians at all.
Not in the slightest.
Not in the slightest. That's where I'm like, yeah, it's not. There are so many other ways. It's more work, but and to Suno or whoever you're using, like, to their credit, there's some stuff that sounds pretty good on there, and you can, you know, to maybe to even go as far as to say like what Martin Scorsese's doing, temp out a track to then go take to a composer or something. I still don't like the guy who runs Suno. I don't know the guy. Never mind. I don't know him. But I've seen those.
Don't like his
you brought it. I've seen I've seen him talk about it.
Yeah.
And it, you know, is it helping the industry? Is it helping create more art, more good things in the world? I don't think he cares about that. And so that's my philosophical end.
We've seen with Obsession and Backrooms, it proves you don't need big budgets. You just need to be creative.
Yeah.
Like, you just need to go make the art for whatever budget and make really good art. Okay, great. Your first feature film doesn't do well. Great. Make another one. Like, how many sketches did Curry make? Hundreds of sketches. So he just put in the work. And the same thing, like, there's the backstory that I saw about Kane Parsons, who's like literally made like 500 videos on YouTube. Like, he has literally been doing it since he was like 10 years old, was putting out YouTube videos, like 500 something videos.
And also this, I mean, I learned this in you bringing Kane to me and then me kind of diving in to talk about it here, but he's been refining this Backroom's lore, the story, the idea through thousands of YouTube videos, through thousands of posts. Like, this wasn't his first time talking, like shooting anything for Backrooms. This has been an ongoing series that he's had on YouTube. So like, it gets refined and it gets dialed and it gets locked.
There were 24 short films of Backrooms. 24 of these to hone in, figure it out, but also build hype, which then eventually got licensed, et cetera, et cetera. But like 24 short films, make 24 episodes. Basically, that's a season of a television show. Not these new television shows, of an OG, legit television show, network television, 24 episodes, and then go make it into a feature. Like, it just dialed in the storytelling, and it comes from just doing the work. It comes in from doing the work. I think that, I mean,
there's our button, everybody, and especially, man, Last Movie Standing, dude. Thank you for hanging with us. AI is a tricky battlefield, and we will navigate it together, and we will figure out ways to use it.
Go check out the movie Last Movie Standing for those who watched 2 hours of this episode. Go watch Last Movie Standing. Thank you for being in the comments and being active today. Yeah, and dude, we got to have you on the show at this point, because we've had Todd. Like, literally, this is our community. I think this was like phase 1, episode 1 for us. This is why I wanted to be here, was this community. We're building it together. We're hanging out together. Next week, you will have just gotten back from Cine Gear. So we're going to talk a lot about Cine Gear stuff you saw. We'll have to not just, my obsession, my problem is the Cine Gear talk for 2 hours. So we will find other things to talk about as well. If you guys have stuff we want to talk about, leave them in these comments. Hit us up on the other video comments. We definitely had a lot of people when we were going to the Kinefinity stuff. We had a lot of people on the stream. So, it might be a gear episode next week.
Yeah. All right. Well, until next time, man, Jake, thank you for everything, brother. And everybody who is down here, thank you for hanging out with us. It's a freaking fun thing to get to do this every week with you guys.
Oh, yeah. And, look, hey, if you've been here for 2 hours, I'm just going to put the plug in there. Go follow Colden on YouTube. Go follow my YouTube. And go follow the Creative Lens podcast on YouTube.
All 3. We remember I had that. Wait, do I have that?
I was setting you up for the bumper.
Well, I have to make sure I have it. Do we have the bumper?
Now we have to throw up. There's the bumper.
There it is.
We
have a bumper. Colden. All right, man. Until next time, Jake, it's always a pleasure. Everybody that was here, thank you for hanging out. And we'll see you next week, Thursday at 2:30 for the Creative Lens podcast. See ya.